Hi, thanks. I'm Peter Van Garderen from Vancouver, Canada, and along with Doris van der Koft from Rotterdam, the Netherlands, I'm one of the co-founders and lead developers for the RealFi Landano project, which is introducing a legally binding land registry DApp to the Cardano Web3 ecosystem. We are requesting Project Catalyst Fund 7 funding to develop a Landano MVP, which includes user requirement analysis and field testing in a pilot project in Accra, Ghana. Nana Safo is our Accra-based coordinator and project ambassador. He will be supported by the local Accra branch of WADA, which is the leading African-based alliance with the mission to connect African professionals to the Cardano ecosystem. We've also begun discussions with the Empower Mortgage Lending Project to explore how our tools and processes can be integrated. So the problem that Landano is addressing is that there's an estimated 1 billion marginalized people worldwide that own real estate property, but are not able to register legally binding title deeds on it due to expensive, mismanaged, confusing, or corrupted land title registration systems. This is a major blocker to their upward financial mobility, as trustworthy deed documents can otherwise be used in applications for a bank account, credit score report, mortgage, or a line of credit. Moreover, trustworthy land ownership records are a foundational layer for peaceful nation building and rule of law. For example, a single plot of land may be fraudulently registered to several names and sold to different people behind the true owner's back. In Ghana, this has included violent evictions of legitimate property owners by a brutal group known as Land Guard. The goal of the Landano project is to make land title registration as simple, cost-effective, and reliable as possible for those who need it most. This will enable new economic opportunities like credit financing, rental income, and decentralized finance. Legally binding land title records also nurture pride of ownership and a sense of psychological and physical security. We believe that the barrier to success for a truly breakthrough project is ensuring that any blockchain-based document notarization is synced with real-world legacy systems. This is to ensure that these transactions are fully legally binding for physical enforcement and admissibility as evidence in court proceedings. All Landano documents and processes will be made legally binding from the very first day that our security audited DApp goes live on Cardano's mainnet. This is accomplished by working with local lawyers and government officials that deal with land registry procedures on a daily basis, and by filing the required documentations with the existing legacy systems. Landano is in the process of tokenizing an OpenStreetMap layer for Accra, Ghana and its surroundings. We are syncing it with the official government cadastre maps. We will use NFT technology to ensure there's only ever one Landano registry token per legal title. Property owners will only ever interact with a simple-to-use smartphone app, which verifies their true identity using a Prism DID integration. There is significant smartphone ownership in Ghana, which makes this a viable entry point. This is the Landano project roadmap. If we are awarded a Project Catalyst Fund 7 grant, our project will begin on March 1st, 2022, with user story and requirements gathering in local Accra workshops. We will also complete the creation of a tokenized cadastre map for Accra that is aligned with records in the legacy land title system. I think it's important to restate our position from our proposal, namely that it's not Landano's intention to replace legacy registry systems where those are already functioning well. Our number one goal is to remove barriers into the legitimate financial world for marginalized people by making it easier and cheaper to access a legally binding land registry system. After 2 months of agile software design and development, we will have a proof of concept for the front-end Landano DApp and the back-end off-chain record-keeping system. This includes a mechanism to mint and preserve Cardano-native non-fungible tokens for individual land titles. After this intense period of use case analysis, research, and development, we will publish our findings and designs and an updated roadmap in the first version of the Landano white paper. This will be followed by the launch of the Landano minimal viable product on the Cardano testnet, which will include 5 Accra Ghana property owners as field testers. As well, over the course of this 3-month pilot project, we are working together with Dr. Shadrach Katu in Nairobi, Kenya, and community activist Derek Drew in Aurora, Illinois, to investigate how the Landano requirements and tools could accommodate use cases in other regional scenarios. They will each be publishing a blog post in the first 2 months, culminating in a preprint research paper on their respective investigations. Please see our detailed Project Catalyst Fund 7 proposal on Ideafest in the Nation Building DApp Challenge. Our proposal contains more details on our full roadmap, our proposed solution, as well as the qualifications and values of our team. And please follow our Twitter to stay up to date on our project's latest developments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that's really sharp 5 minutes. Nice. Okay, cool. So do you have any questions, guys? So we have 10 minutes for the question and answer session. So I suppose this is kind of interesting project for everyone. So let's start. Who has the first question?
Yeah, hi Peter. I just wanted to say I've been following the Empower project very closely for the last year or so because Glenn Jordan is one of my friends. It was actually him who put me onto the Cardano, to the Catalyst project. I mean, their project is amazing, I think. So if yours is tapping into that, I think you've got a really good opportunity there. I mean, I know they're working in East Africa, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how your project develops from that.
Thank you. Yeah, Empower is an inspiration for us, and Glenn in particular is a bit of a trailblazer in this whole field. So we're very excited that that we are able to start talking with them about how we could sync these two initiatives, because obviously there's a very natural connection, right? And if you're familiar with the Empower scenario, it's they're right now, what they do is they lend money to builders to finance projects. And so one connection that we're looking at is the ability to use the Landano land title registry to then subdivide properties for those builders, and then make it a kind of a one-stop shop for and make it easier. Again, just keep reducing the barriers to making these things happen. So we're very excited about that. Sorry, I interrupted you. There was a question from Adi.
So I'm very interested in how the link happens between the NFT rights to a piece of land and the actual local government. What is the connection between the real thing and the NFT? Like, for example, if the government gets overthrown, right? Whatever that legal infrastructure was could potentially be at risk. So is there a way to sort of make it like a more community thing where the community believes in the NFT thing more than the government, so the government can come and go, but everybody agrees that that's what it is? You see what I'm saying? It's not legal, but it's community.
Yeah, that's really part of our long-term vision as well. The part of the challenge we're seeing is that, I mean, even in the global north, we have the land title registry system. It can be pretty obtuse and so even more so in places in the global south. And we've chosen Ghana specifically because it is kind of a sweet spot for us, where there is a lot of reform happening with the land title registry system. So it is. But nevertheless, it still looks very expensive and it's confusing for users to access. So like I said, I made the point of saying that we're not coming out of here saying we're going to replace the existing land title registry systems, but we do want that to be an option. And so first and foremost, we need to make this legally binding. The projects that have failed in this space so far have had a disconnect to the real world. They just create this thing in the cyberspace and there's no connection back to the real world. So that's why we make a point of dealing with actual legal professionals that will then work on behalf of the Landano users to actually go and file the necessary documentation. So essentially they have a representative to do that for them. They don't have to go visit the various offices. We have somebody that's familiar with the process doing that. And therefore, any of the tokenized deeds that are NFTs that are on the Landano system actually represent a true legal title. Now, let's say that's happening in a country like Ghana, where things are fairly stable from a social political point of view, and from an information technology point of view. But the idea is to prove the concept there and then move to less stable jurisdictions where exactly what you're describing is more of an issue, where we can say, okay, this is actually this is going to function better than what you got right now. Like, it's going to be easier for us to just switch to a Landano based system. And this is why we see this as fitting in the nation building DApp category. And there's certain things we can only do. We can only go so far with technology. We can't do the physical enforcement on the ground. There's a whole social geopolitical layer to this problem that we can't solve as technologists working in the global north. That's why we do make it a point of having on the ground pilots and making this a grassroots initiative. But at the end of the day, the best we can do is provide the people on the ground with sound technology to then take the extra step for enforcement and for financial mobility and so forth. And again, the idea is that we hope that we can prove that this is a sound, stable, reliable technology, so that, let's say there is a country that's like struggling with their upgrading and getting to the next generation of land title registry systems, they will see, well, this Landano thing has been working in parallel now securely for the last few years. Why don't we just switch to that infrastructure? Because we can, again, we will make a point of ensuring that this is based on reliable record keeping standards. That's my own personal background, professional background, so that the system can be credible and can exist as an alternative. But we can't, in our opinion, we can't go blazing into a jurisdiction and saying, hey, we're here to take over your land registry. Like, that's just not our philosophy, and that's not how we want to go about our business. We just like to solve the technological component for people on the ground, trying to do all these things that we are part of our mission as well.
Yeah, I suppose it will be quite challenging, to get this kind of as a legal, and also that everyone recognize that. So how are you gonna, solve that? Because it's kind of,
well, again, so we will actually be filing actual land title registrations. And so we will have digital copies of the filed documents that are going into the off-chain audit trails for the NFTs that we're creating on Landano. So we're not inventing a new legal system. We're tapping into the existing legal system. And then again, my expertise, I have 20 plus years experience as an archivist and records manager. I've developed free open source tools that are electronic record keeping systems. And so there's a number of standards and methodologies that we will be applying to the off-chain record keeping component of the NFT to ensure that the records themselves are fully legally admissible in any court proceeding. So if somebody were to challenge the registration or the ownership, that they could pull the Landano documents off our off-chain record keeping system and have a lawyer actually have a judge see that it meets the legal criteria for legal admissibility in a court proceeding. So that's how we're trying to address that issue. Because again, in my opinion, there's been some interesting pilot projects for land registration, but they never solved this piece of the puzzle. They never connected it to real world legal systems. And that's, I think, key to our success.
Yeah. That if you will succeed, that will be a huge change, not only, it's just starting point for you guys there. So yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, I do.
Just one quick, the off-chain data, are you keeping it in IPFS or Airweave or one of these decentralized places?
Yes, we're creating an IPFS-based audit trail. Now, just putting documents in IPFS is not enough to make it legally admissible. So I am the lead developer on a Fund 6 project called OrcFax, which is designing trustworthy record-keeping oracles. And so a key component of that is this off-chain record-keeping component, where again, I'm applying the standards from our archiving and records management domain, where there's a number of international standards, but applying them directly to a fully decentralized IPFS-based record-keeping architecture, which again has not been created yet to this day. People are just putting stuff on IPFS and assuming that when they have the content identifier, that's enough to make a record. It's a good start. It's a fingerprint, and notarizing on the blockchain is nice too, because you put a hash of a document in there, but it's really glorified timestamp. Nobody's connected all the dots and turned it into a fully legally admissible record keeping system yet. And that's what we're working on over the Fund 6 for OrcFax. And we will let those deliverables are due February 28th. And so the idea is that the Landano project will kick off March 1st to be able to leverage that infrastructure. So we're building off of those components as well. But I encourage you to check out the OrcFax work as well, orcfax.link, and follow our Twitter. And because that's really where we're over the next, in fact, we'll be issuing the first draft of that white paper on January 1st that explains a lot of this infrastructure.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, I see Mr. Tafara has a question. He's raised hand. So, Tafara? Okay. Looks like there's no question from him.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, maybe you can just write your question in the chat, so then we can.
Tafara, Mr. Tafara, are you able to? Can you ask your question? Can you try? Or write it in chat, like Laura suggested.
Okay. Meanwhile, maybe somebody has one more question. So we are running out of time. So half a minute. Okay. Anyway, so I suppose anyone can contact you on Idea Scale and ask questions there, and definitely dive deeper into this project because it's a huge one again, and love to see these projects happening. And yeah, wish you success and hopefully you'll get funded for this one.
Thank you.